back to school and learn well. Otherwise, later on in life, you go get red. Without an education in your head, your whole life will be pure misery. You're better off dead. For there is simply no room in this whole wide world for an uneducated boy or girl. Don't allow idle companions to lead you astray. To earn tomorrow, you got to learn today. According to the education you get when you're small, you will grow up with true ambition and respect from one and all. But in my days in school, they teach me like a fool. The things they teach me I should be a block-headed mule. They tell me pussy has finished his work long ago, and now he resting and think. Solomon Gandhi was born on a Monday. The ass and the lion did. Winking, blinking, and gone. Sail off in a wooden sloop. The goody lose his tail and the alligator fighting to make monkey liver soup. And that is the man in the band. The poems and the lessons they write and send from England impress me. They were trying to cultivate comedians. Comic books made more sense. You know it is fictitious without pretense. Cockroach wanted to keep us in ignorance. Listen to witness. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty didn't fall. Goosey, goosey, gander. Where shall I go? Ding dong dell. Goosey in the well. That is the man in the gun. I said Cartridge was plenty times more advanced than them scientists. I am believe that no one man could write so much stupidness. Aeroplanes didn't come so soon. Scientists used to make the grading balloon. Cartridge make a crow jump over the moon. And then he tell them, Tom, Tom, the piper's son, steal a pig and away he run. Once there was a woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. Dickory, duck. The mouse ran up the clock. The lion and the mouse, a woman pushing a cow to eat grass on top of a house. Mama died.
Yes, indeed. A pleasant good morning to all and sundry, east, west, north, south, central, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web. A pleasant good day to you. Yes, indeed. Of course, this is the Sunday edition of the Corridor Transformation, and we thought we should have some fun. Of course, a rich mix of educational, of course, a pursuit, as the Sunday morning has gravitated or evolved to be, where of course we focus on education, but then we have the other side of what is concerned to be the subterranean sociological elements that is Trinidad and Tobago, and therefore we mix, of course, from both extremes, so to speak. One, of course, education and a tremendous amount of opportunities and knowledge that could be gained. And at the same time, on the other side of that spectrum is the question of crime, criminality, and some of the dysfunctionalities that we experience on a daily basis. And we hope to gain middle ground as a consequence, where we can, of course, advance a position that because of that sensitive balance, Trinidad and Tobago could be a better place, because we are more conscious and we are encouraged, of course, to take action in order to advance patriotically Trinidad and Tobago. That being as it may, a pleasant good morning to all and sundry once again, east, west, north, south, central, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are streaming on the World Wide Web. I want to say up front our condolences, even though, of course, the burial took place, or I should say the cremation took place yesterday, but a very ardent, a very sincere, a very avid listener and contributor to the not only the corridor transformation but also to the ground report, and that is, of course, a fella better known as Mr. Freeport. I'm sure that those who are monitoring will shake their head, give me a shake hand, whether it's yes or no, based on the question that was posed to them. So whether we are on or not. That being as it may, let me say that Mr. Freeport is engaged in a tremendous challenge at this stage. Not only is he a senior citizen, but of course an amputee. He's an amputee, and at the same time, got his house burnt, and now his wife has met her demise. So I think it is something that no one would want for their worst enemy, far less for to experience. But that being as it may, what transpired, of course, during the course of the week, as we normally would start. Well, I want to say that crime and criminality continues. Of course, Dr. Rowley is in Canada. He should be back today, I believe it is. And whether or not our circumstances are going to improve, he being there, that's a matter that the population will have to decipher or determine. But I can tell you what my position is, that much ado about nothing. Our circumstances will be not just the same, but increasingly worse, once, of course, you have a bunch of incompetent, self-serving individuals in office who, of course, engage in every photo op opportunity to suggest that somehow they are popular, as if this is a popularity contest. No, government is not that. Government is about service to the people. Some people say that, of course, it goes beyond that. Is another Latin expression that suggests that service to the people is the most important. Salus populi lex exto. Salus populi lex exto. The first rule, the first pillar, the first option, the first effort of any government is service to the people. That being as it may, of course, we have Dr. Khalid with me as usual on a Sunday, who of course will have his own perspective on what has transpired. But Dr. Khalid, I want to say that I was looking at the tragedies for the week, and of course one person found dead, I think is in Shoguanas. Two persons were convicted of exporting cocaine through the diplomatic pouch quite some time ago. I think it was 2002 there about 2004.
Right.
Then of course you have the continuation of home invasions You have, of course, the killing by the police of a young person, and of course you have situations where in Laventille, of course, vehicle, at least one vehicle that was stolen was found in Laventille, and then of course the person who was charged for the shooting or the killing several weeks ago, well, he was found dead in his cell in the prison as well, or complaint of feeling ill, and by the time he got medical attention, he was pronounced dead. So, and of course the prison commissioner was upfront to say that it had nothing to do with any vigilante conduct within the prison walls, anything like that. Of course, I mean, Trinidad as it is, and knowing the conduct of high officials in this country and wanting to project themselves beyond the law, and that it doesn't apply to them, then I will not be surprised if the opposite is the case. But that being as it may, Dr. Khalid, a pleasant good morning to you.
Morning,
how has been your weekend so far?
Well, same old, work, you know. I left the community center late last night. In fact, I left there around 9. After being there from 8 in the morning,
Okay.
8 a.m., 9 p.m. So it was a long day, and everything working gradually, you know.
Good.
And I know a time will come when I won't be able to continue putting in these amount of hours. So what we're doing now, putting things in place. A lot of these young people, as I told you, when we were coming down, they are being prepared to carry on and to hold the mantle, you know.
Yes.
Hold on the programs, and so far I am pleased with. So that's where it is right now at this moment.
Yeah, but I mean, a budget was just read, and what are your assessment in terms of opportunities for young people? I mean, there was I would consider to be a quasi or an attempt to treat with agriculture. There was a rehashing and a regurgitation. Familiar with YTEP, MITAP, MILAP, GATE, and we can go on and on. But yet still we have a situation with our children not gravitating. And of course, in the budget as well, we saw allocation for laptops. Let's say reintroduction of laptops, but under certain conditions, and that condition is, of course, you have to do a means test, which I think is despicable. This government clearly has no shame, understanding, frankly, and I say so without fear of contradiction, because it's only someone who is myopic, someone who is Jurassic, someone who is in a state of obsolescence who will introduce a program like that in the context of Trinidad and Tobago by talking about condition, when you should be providing that as part of the curriculum, providing that kind of facilitation simply because it is an imperative, and information tech an integral part of education, and therefore to conditionalize it and to leave out, in other words, discriminate, and at the same time, of course, render certain people inaccessible to such technology, could only be to the detriment of Trinidad and Tobago. But I want to hear your very sagacious views on the matters of this nature.
Well, okay, to start with, remember last week and the week before, and even the week before that, we were talking about programs for the young people.
Yes.
So in the budget, they could have whatever program they want. They already have program there, and those that they have are not being implemented properly.
Right.
I told you how I think that they should go about setting up programs.
Right.
I'll go I'll say the same thing and elaborate a little more. Programs, just as how you go around campaigning, communities by community, go by community. In every community, you have your people there. When you're doing your politics, you have different people from the different groups who are responsible to get our feedback.
Right, okay.
Good. So then do the same thing. Centers, you use some point person home or somewhere.
Right.
It good? You must get some place. And you start something. You start organizing them children, finding out what they want, what they need to do. You send out your feeder. Because we need to know that we can save these young people, particularly the young men.
Yes.
Because when you go in prison, as we talked last week, but we seen what happened then. And this has nothing to do with no race. It's mostly young black men of African descent in the prison.
Yes.
Mostly young black men of African descent getting killed, killing each other. And it ain't slowing down.
Yeah, but
something has to be done. So these people need to come up. You know, it's not about politics and it's not about African and Indian and this party versus. It's about us and our children's future, our children and our grandchildren and great-grandchildren's future. And if you have the responsibility, 8 years you've been there. All you have is talk. Living on our legacy are the great late Eric.
I like how you emphasize on late.
Yes.
It's not really great, but late. I hear you. Yes.
You can't put yourself with Eric. You can't even put yourself with Chambers and of course Manning. You need to come up with your own program to think. And then it is. When people criticize, you're angry like hell. This is, you got the responsibility, you got the job. And die. So I see, so in the budget, I'm not seeing anything. This agriculture. I have heard that same Embert criticize the agriculture program.
Right.
That is a fact. And people will say, oh, and so much years ago, and you go, yes, he did. You understand?
Yes.
He did.
That's a reality.
He did criticize. He said the worst thing he can say, no compliment with the program we had. In fact, they took pleasure in closing down our estate rehabilitation program. Lennox, you know that is true.
Oh, of course, yes. I am. It was within my time, and my experience as well.
Yes,
so yeah,
you were there with us.
Yeah.
And they closed it down, and they said that when we made the arrangement with the estate owners who had the land, the abandoned land, they said that we into something, you know, not right, and we made some kind of deal, some scheme we come up with.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
They seen others always that which is in them.
Yes.
Because of course it's a government of scheme, steal, and kleptocracy, nepotism, and cronyism.
Right.
I mean, I can't be more comprehensive than that.
Yes. So that is it. So the estate rehabilitation program you criticize. Yes, we need agriculture. And I would re-emphasize agriculture is very important. We have land here that is arable land. We need to put it back to work. Before I even born, you even born, Trinidad and Tobago was the breadbasket.
Yes.
Not just for Trinidad, but for the Caribbean.
Yes.
We were planting food. We have all the things that we can do. We have the best cocoa and coffee in the world.
Yes, still the Dutch GZs caught us when oil was discovered.
Yes.
And subsequently gas.
Yes.
And the pointly sass.
Yes.
All right. I'm just making people know what is happening.
Yeah. And it's a fact you need to move away from the monoculture. The one commodity culture.
Right.
Agriculture is it. We have a lot of young men interested in agriculture, even in my community. Just at a moment notice, I am sure that I could put my hand on about 5 or 6, probably even 10.
Okay.
Who interested in agriculture. Right or wrong, you have arable lands all over the place. So just stop the talk and do the work.
But what do you think, really and truly, the government has mentioned an increase in budget allocation for agriculture. We just saw the opening of, for example, the highway between Point and San Fernando. Of course, Dr. Rowley was strident and very vitriolic and scathing in his criticism of the last administration for taking the highway through DB and these other far south but far-flung but agricultural-based communities, and suggesting that somehow the highway should have only been to where they have, of course, stopped it, even though, of course, the last administration wanted to encompass all of these, and they said why, that, of course, it will open up opportunities, particularly for agricultural holdings, get agriculturalists to produce more, but they have access, greater access, more convenient access, more efficacious access to their holdings. It means that, therefore, they not only can they produce more, but can take their produce to market before they spoil, because, I mean, agriculture basically the production of perishable items, and therefore to get your product harvested and to market quickly so that you could get an optimum exchange for the efforts that you would have put in is important. Dr. Rowley instead took another approach which is more political and self-serving, and pretending, of course, that he is serving the interests of the people. I say pretending deliberately at people, pretending that he's serving the interests of the people simply because he was attempting to obfuscate or to deflect attention away from the fact that the arbitration in London says in non-certain terms that Trinidad and Tobago's government, and therefore you and I, must give back to OAS $1 billion that Dr. Rowley got, claiming that they were bankrupt and that the last administration had a right to fire them, and then he brought some clause, and then, of course, he's now going to initiate a commission of inquiry, the members of which, or at least a member of which, has been receiving money since 3 years now, thereabout, and they have not sat on one occasion, and still extended the terms of reference to include how come they were able to adjust that particular clause of which he spoke, that somehow by some epiphany, by some magic, the OS was supposed to go away with the money, when in fact he got the money, so they couldn't go away with it. But when they took them to court, the OS take the government to court, the adjudicators, the persons who presided over the matter, say that government was wrong, they breached the contract, and so that they give back the people their money, along with other things, because the contract wasn't finished, and if it was wrongful termination, they would want to sue to get back, and of course a number of other monetary issues that will be to the detriment of you and I as citizens now have to fork out as taxpayers. Dr. Khalid.
Well, okay. The thing is with that OAS project, you know very well, Lennox, that the People's Partnership met and the contract was given to Emberton Day. You know that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, unlike what the PNM will do, just dish it aside, the Kamla Prasad Bissessa administration took the project and they continued. Right? It so happened that they had a team and they hired expert, in which one of the experts was my boy Dr. Charles, who was the president
of NIDCO, the executing agent on behalf of the government.
Right. So they they are just searching around for ghosts. I can assure you, because I was very close to that project, I can assure you, you have no kind of corruption there. And if they want to sully somebody character, they could do it. You understand?
Yes, yes.
But there is nothing that they will find. And that is the thing. That is how politics is in this country.
And you had a situation there. Maybe we could take a look at it as well. We have a situation as well where Dr. Rowley and the sitting minister of works, Sinanan, yes, he said that in 2015, when the elections was carded, they say the Friday before the elections, this so-called injurious clause was amended so that OS could have gone away. I mean, if it is that election did not take place as yet, is it not that the government is still in place and they therefore have the responsibility to still manage the affairs of the country? Let's assume that a hurricane had come or some country tried to invade Trinidad and Tobago, and the sitting government, in spite of elections to come, Monday or not, and they would have had to treat with the matter. It didn't matter whether you had an election coming. How can one rationalize that? Because Dr. Rowley is given the impression that something ought to have happened. And I'm saying that against a background that the Minister of Works, Sinanan, he also parroted that position, that high moralistic position, that they shouldn't interfere with anything at all that is as major as that. Right? Because the PNM, because of the elections of 2010, didn't pursue that particular project or suspended that particular project until ostensibly after the elections, because only it was the wrong thing to do, but did not tell us that Manning called the elections 2 years earlier, and that would have been the major reason why they didn't pursue that particular project. It has nothing to do with some moralistic position, some principled position of the elections coming up, and therefore we shouldn't pursue it. I want you to I mean, it is fantastically, I mean, bizarre, frankly.
It is, but Lennox, they know very well that nothing was wrong. Nothing was done that is wrong.
But they will extract political fodder from it.
No, well, that is
like political kobo, I suppose.
Listen, man, that is the only way these people could survive, Lennox.
All right.
By making confusion, saying things while they're not performing.
Right.
You could say that. So sitting on and he could talk. He can't compare himself with Cass in charge of those guys who were in charge of that. So he could talk how much he wants. He can't. He just chalk and cheese.
Chalk and cheese.
Yes. And so they could run them out and they could talk what they want to talk, but they can't prove anything. And in fact, if they want to continue slandering OAS, they want to give them some more money, because they were able to. They had was to give them money because they stopped the program illegally.
Yes.
So if you want to give them more money, you can do that.
Ah, boy, that's a. But let's hear something. Let me see if I get Dr. Rowley to, of course, say it for himself. I don't want to, in any way vicariously or indeed paraphrase anything. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth.
What I'm going to say to you here today is likely to be part of a wider text, because I am really trying to write some of the history of this country. It involves my personal knowledge, and most importantly, one learns from your exposure. It registered in my cranium that you.
But you know, I like how he likes these philosophical disposition. Come across like an academic. You know, and in my cranium, and I'm writing. he takes that, but to me that is more theatrics than anything else.
Yeah,
it
but
is.
he is an academic.
Yeah, but I ain't disputing that. What I'm saying is he takes this academic veneer in order, of course, to deceive. That's the point I'm making, and not genuinely academic as we know it.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, here it is. He is saying that he's looking to rewrite or to write based on his own experience, and he has given a theme for that particular rewriting that he is talking about, or writing that he is talking about. He is taking a particular theme, and you will hear it in a while. But the point I want to make a pause for is that he wrote, of course, his biography from Mason Hall to Whitehall, but Whitehall wasn't existing at the time when he did it. That's the point I'm making. So is it intellectual dishonesty? And is this another incident of it? That's all. That's the point I'm making.
You have to be alert.
I agree with you.
So therefore, what I'm going to read for you today on this text that I've prepared is called a case study of a project where government has questions to answer.
So the government that has questions to answer, clearly, as far as he is concerned, is the UNC, not the PNM. And the PNM is the one that, according to the decision of that tribunal in England, is that the PNM government under Rowley stopped the contract.
Yes, it's a fact.
Stopped the contract.
Right.
By their actions.
And
they
they are
breached the contract. They
liable.
did not pay the people, and therefore they are now liable. But here it is, Dr. Rowley is going to rewrite.
But
A revisionist. Revisionists usually revise conveniently, and it's usually neo-lies or new lies. But Dr. Khalid.
Well, Lennox, we are almost at the end of 2022. 2025, as we know, is election.
Yes.
So from May 2024, it will be always a politicking. It's politicking.
Right.
It's a fact. They have nothing else to go on. So they start to set up their slander machine
Right.
and sullying good people name.
Right.
That's what they do, because they have nothing to show for it. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. From 2016, when they took office, good, to now, in my opinion, they have nothing to show. They have not completed anything in any major way.
But why would they speak obvious lies, deception, to cover incompetence? Why would he do that when, I'm talking about in the face of the information that is in the public domain, contrary to what they are saying? We know that they stopped the contract. We know that a decision was made against them. Why it is that you would want, of course, to take blood out of stone, so to speak, generate the impossible, defend the indefensible? I mean, what is happening here?
Lennox. They are accustomed doing that, my brother. It's nothing new. According to those
So it's par for the course for them?
according to those
No principle?
No principle. According to them young people, you're asking answers.
I like that response. Yes, I like that response. But let's continue with Dr. Rowley's and his deflective sojourn on this occasion to deflect attention away from his own incompetence, indecision, and of course a poor choice that has created $1 billion hole in the coffers of Trinidad and Tobago for you and I, the citizens and the taxpayers, to pay. And he believes he could absolve himself with that hogwash that he's talking.
The process for the construction of this highway from San Fernando to Point Fortin was initiated by a previous PNM government. And I come specifically to the Manning administration of 2007 to 2010. The North-South Highway artery had reached Golconda by 2010. The next leg was now to be onwards from there to Point Fortin. The Point 14 highway exercise was initiated through the process of invitation of tender in early 2010. However, although tenders were received in April 2010, the contract was not awarded prior by the PNM, since the bids received were significantly higher than the in-house engineer's estimate. And that in-house engineer's estimate was for $3.6 billion. So in 2010, that was the target expenditure for that highway, $3.6 billion. On March 4th, 2011, the UNC government, through NIDCO, populated by different people, not the current people who are in NIDCO, those who were in post in NIDCO on the board at that time, awarded a design-build contract to a Brazilian firm, Construtora OSSA, known as a lump sum of approximately $5.2 billion, or $1.6 billion more than the original engineer's estimate.
Now, Dr. Khaled, I want to pause there because size, as we have seen him doing for some sinister reason, to make it look as though it's some kind of profligacy, some kind of corruption built in, 1 point something, and he emphasized more. But then he went back on and is usually convoluted. You will hear him, and we'll stop there because we have to play this entire thing tonight, so I don't want people to be oversaturated. But I want to stop at that point when he then said at the same time that one, he never told us on, and the people just go and execute clearly, because that is what he suggested under the Manning administration took place. And then of course he went on later down the road to say right now the project costed $8 billion. So sir, about the additional 1 point something after the UNC came into office in 2010. Today it is costing us upwards of $8 billion. And he makes no emphasis that that it took so damn long, and the cost has escalated to that point. But I'm certain if it was another government, his administration, he cursorily and superficially mentioned the $8 billion and somehow justified it and moved on. I mean, Dr. Rowley is simple to the extreme, Dr. Khaled.
No, well, Lennox. Yeah, what? As I said before, I don't want to repeat myself.
Yeah.
The man is politicking, he's playing politics, and you know there are some members of the society that is going to swallow what they're saying. But let them continue, and people will just have to come out and they defend themselves, and the facts is going to be out there. People know the facts. But if I am telling lies about you, and you sit idly by, and you come out and say, you come out there with your facts and your documents, people will see.
And of course, it appears that approach, like a bull, they seem to be, when he's focused, that one blind, and he's going ahead, because clearly all the political fortunes of the PNM in recent times have been waning. Yeah. He must know what transpired in Tobago. Yeah. He must know what transpired in the local government just finished. Over 60,000 persons voted more for the UNC, yet still he continues with that. So I suppose, as you rightly said, he will fall on his own dagger.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because, as I said before, 2020 political season would start mid-2024.
Okay.
Start to come out there, and the campaigning and the facts are revealed. Facts, numbers is a stubborn thing, right?
Yes.
So people will see it. So he can continue sullying, or should I say trying. He's trying to sully people's name.
Yes.
But when people start to defend themselves, then
that he must talk and nobody else must defend himself. A typical dictator.
Nobody
you have no recourse to defend yourself against the onslaught of this nasty mouth man.
Nobody get angry and he become very haughty when you say anything to defend yourself.
Yeah. Because you must not. He is the dominating factor. What he says go. And therefore his dogmatism point, as I say, I will not go further because tonight we have to play the entire thing.
Now don't get me wrong. The engineer's estimate was just that, an estimate. Weeks after the UNC came into office and met this project on the table for consideration of an award of a contract for continuation of construction, an interested group of known...
So I think we could stop here, anticipating exercise. Of course, tonight you will hear from saying that is based on moral and ethical grounds and principle grounds that they believe it was unethical to pursue it, and so they wait because of the proximity of the elections. Well, we know his hogwash, and we know Sinanan is not so good intellectually. We know that he is a little short, if not a total and absolute moron. And that, of course, he is in some state of cerebral or intellectual decline, or have a deficit of that nature. Because constitutionally due, and due to pressure, as we know now, from Rowley. And because certainly if he had succeeded in victory, Rowley's political career would have abruptly come to an end. That much we know. And we must say it for what it is. It means that therefore he got a lease on life, and he continues, of course, to play under that opportunity through brinksmanship. Budo, I did this and look, I'm still here. I mismanaged the economy, I'm still here. I am a black man who has done all of this evil to the population, including, of course, not accounting to on major issues, including, of course, how the money come for Balize House only when you're in government. No, the decision to construct a highway to nowhere, the Manzanilla Highway, to the tune of $400 million. The decision to purchase Nilan Masi Communications, over $200 million. The revamping of Train 1, Atlantic LNG, knowing full well that there could be no gas and don't know where that money has gone. What we know, that they were in close proximities to elections, and therefore one can only assume they were slush funds to promote electioneering and, of course, undermine the action seen in 2015 and 2020. Dr. Khalid. And, of course, during the run-up to the THA elections, when he went to the parliament and used his slim majority to increase the number of seats there by 3. And then, of course, the most latest, the Privy Council had to tell him that he is not the people, he's not the electorate. The electorate is all of us who qualify over the age of 18, and therefore you would be replacing us if the Privy Council will allow you to get your way and call election instead. Postpone it to call it in December. Dr. Khalid.
No, that is it. And you would think that he would not.
Beautiful.
He would not learn his lesson because of his arrogance.
Right.
And this is why I'm saying 2024 will be an interesting year. Because they're preparing for the election. They don't have anything meaningful to work on, so they're coming up with these things, sullying people's name and saying all the different things, because they know they have their crowd. But you have to remember, the majority of people don't vote in Trinidad. So the fence sitters are the people that we have to be talking to. Those people who don't vote. And whenever those who don't vote decide to vote, PNM always lose. We have had a history there. We have had it in '86. We have had it in '83 when they lose the local. We have had it in '86 when they lose the general. 2010, and even the recent local election there didn't lose, but come as vote the thing.
Yeah, 60,000 persons voted more for the UNC.
Right, and as you said,
and they lost, of course, entirely in Tobago.
Right, and as you said, what Jack said, common sudden as a.
But Jack went further, and he mentioned Jack in that. Jack is the minister he referred to when he said that the OS officials met somebody in Johannesburg during the World Cup. Well, Jackie was referring to.
Well, I wanted to call Jackie.
Yeah, exactly was referring to. And of course, he couldn't miss the fact that Jack was part and parcel of the local government election, so he mentioned that as well.
Right.
But he mentioned it in circumstances where physically you saw him sweating, reminiscent of Manning. They have this tendency when they know they are going to lose electorally. They try to, of course, convince themselves that they are talking to them. But you can see how he's fighting for persons. If you give him a chance, he takes some kind of hatchet and open up the head and put what he's saying in it. I mean, but it doesn't operate like that. The people have to spontaneously choose to, of course, listen to that or cut off people like that.
Remember, he's a man who could go to Lekito, so he could go to Lekito and try a thing.
Well, maybe now he has to pay the piper.
Yeah,
he's getting difficulty, and he may have a deficit there as well.
When they lose that Tobago election, Lekito then do no work for him.
Well, that's it. He didn't pay, and it appears that he continues to be in that quagmire, not paying, and as a result, losing, and in a losing streak. But of course, Dr. Khaled, we just had a budget presentation, and the various ministers of government would have, of course, make their presentations with respect to their respective portfolios. And I am directing the discussion in that direction because it has implication for 2024 and moving forward,
25.
and then 2025, and where Trinidad and Tobago will be. And of course, it's important people who are managing our affairs, because I personally am not impressed, whether it's social development, whether it be community development, whether it be youth, whether it be sports, or whether it be a social development, whether it be the office of Attorney General, whether it be the office of the Prime Minister, whether it be, of course, other what I consider to be members of the kitchen cabinet, state enterprises, who, of course, would be managed by chairmen and board appointees of this administration. Is it that the country's managerial core have collapsed? These are some of the people. Well, I think this is all of them. Look them behind Dr. Khaled. They are there, and you will see their faces coming up. And maybe from time to time, Dr. Khaled, you may want to reference, take for instance, Imbert, the presentation of a budget. That was his money in the Heritage and Civilization Fund, and that, of course, the IMF said that they are doing well, and that there is a 3% unemployment, and all of it. And when we looked, a company in South put out an advertisement only for interested persons to get jobs in Guyana, and they say almost the whole of Trinidad went there. But yet still, this man tells us, the Minister of Finance, that we have 3% unemployment. So Dr. Khaled, take it whichever way you want, and as they come up on the screen, if you want, you could reference them. I see this one, Sinanan, the Minister of Works, as a total buffoon, in my view. But Dr. Khaled,
Well, let's see.
that's the Minister of Education there behind us.
You see, I don't have to get in and call them names.
All right.
They know who they are. they're a bunch of non-performers anyway.
Right. A euphemistic way to say what I just said. I say buffoon, he said non-performers. All right, it's not much more palatable as a non-performer, but I'm more raw in terms of my presentation. Yes. Yeah. So he is euphemistic, and I'm diphemistic. Yes.
You know my style.
Yes. You'll be as courteous as possible, yes, even to the politically.
Right. Yeah. But the thing is that these people, they know the time is at hand, Lennox.
Okay.
And what I keep on saying, we just have to do what we have to do and prepare ourselves. You understand? Because the time has come for us to put the right things in place. And there will be no more.
There'll be no more.
There'll be no more. That's a reality.
But are there any highlights? I don't know if you listened to the debates of the presentation of the various ministers, because it's an opportunity to show off your wares, so to speak, as a minister. A budget debate really is that time, because people may not know what is happening in the ministry, and they expatiate sometime and so on.
Honestly, I wouldn't even say sorry. I didn't listen to the budget.
All right.
What I heard is what people did. So
I think, for instance, Donna Cox, for example, let me just take it at random. Donna Cox, what do you think of the statement when she said that she would be involving the ministry because there was a discovery that several food cards and so on were and things that were not accounted for and all of that.
You know what is amazing, Lennox?
Yeah.
I'll talk about her. I don't like to go after people, but I'll talk about her first.
Okay.
She grew up in Laventille. Now every opportunity she gets, she want to go after poor people who would use the government to get something, some kind of survival.
Yeah.
Greedy and to go after stuff. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. And anybody who are thinkers could never support and agree with her with that kind of attitude. If you have information, okay, you take it to the police. Okay, let do just like the sully people name and say things. And they can do that because they know whatever they do, a certain group of people will keep on supporting them.
And on every occasion, they know. So what's the benefit there?
Sullying people name.
They know it has, as far as they are concerned, political traction. They want to make themselves holier than thou and everybody else as scabs. When they see in others, really, that which is in them.
And she and Hans, both of them are non-performers. She was the MP for 2 or 3 terms, at least, and never did anything. And the Rasta, not Leon's, Hines, was in Laventille East there, and never did anything. You understand?
Yeah.
So the thing is, people just go in and vote party because
tradition.
Well, tradition, yes.
Yeah, not party, because I mean, a party. If you think party, no one will gravitate to the PNM. So it has to be.
Well, they have a group.
It has to be a traditional thing over the years, generation.
Well, we can play.
Yeah.
I want to get a lot of people that I know in that Laventille. That Leon's there?
Yeah, that's Leon's, yes.
A lot of people that I know in that Laventille East area and even Laventille West, because I know a lot of people in Laventille West.
Right.
They just go to the poll because, of course, yes, it's traditional and they vote PNM. And then it have some of them not voting. It have some people not voting at all, and the reason why, they will say, well, all of them is the same. And whenever a man tell me all of them is the same, I always say, no, all of them is not the same. You understand?
Yeah, but I different, Anytime a man say all of them is the same, it's because he cannot bring himself to the realization that the PNM is toxic. No damn good.
but-
That's the only reason.
Well, yeah, and then it have
Because
a-
they will not mention the other side, but they certainly
Yeah, but-
they will defend.
Yeah, but-
Because the discussion is always a replacement
Yeah,
for
but-
the PNM.
But Lennox, I don't remember Trinidadians. One of the weakness of Trinidadians is race politics.
Race politics.
I have a lot of them know that the PNM are a bunch of non-performers, but they can't bring themselves to vote for a party that is led by an Indian. That's a reality. I always have those heated discussion, and most of the
So
time,
I may raise the point to understand and to project the built-in insincerity that it
Yeah.
has nothing to do with what they say, but it hearts of hearts. It is another agenda that is so sensitive and so biased in its very nature that they can't bring themselves to say, well, listen, them is Indians, and as a result, I am not voting for them.
Yeah.
I will stay where I am because I believe in this particular African-based
Listen.
entity that, of course, in spite of the fact that it can't perform.
you have to remember some of them are middle class and intellectual. They don't want to sound like a racist. They want
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
But they are damn insincere. We need to
Yes.
call them out for what they are.
They don't want people to call them. Them is the same.
Yeah.
And you know that time when you sit down and you reason with them, always sit down because
Bottom line.
because my thing is what the scriptures say in Isaiah, come let us reason together.
Right.
You know me, I said, okay, fine, bring your point. So it's that they ain't saying anything. Say, Khalid, look, I don't have time with that.
Or not say, or is it that they realize that you realize what they really mean
But the
by their superficial verbalization?
right. And the reason why I insist on debating with them,
Yes.
I know what they're talking about is race them too. And they know they can't fool me.
Yes.
So they just decline, and and most of the time it's just peaceful, quiet, and they go and be shaken and be bounce, they gone.
Yes. And everybody take the position conscientiously knowing
Yeah.
that you didn't fool the man.
No.
Your counter argument or engaging in that particular dialogue or discourse, you didn't you reveal all of your true
Yeah.
self and your true purpose and meaning and intent and position on the subject, even though you didn't verbalize it. But of course, your circumlocution and all suggested that it is illogical for you to take the position that you take, that the PNM is toxic.
It is a fact, but the thing is, like I'll go back to say something again, that I blame a lot of us who had the opportunity to be in office at all levels. Whenever we get office, one weakness that always prevails is that we become among ourselves and mash up the good thing. You have the reason why the PNM can be there and continue to fool people is they have a study party from 56. If when we come together, pull a group, and we have people who are prepared to hold this group together, they can't win.
But isn't it the same on the other hand, where it may not be the same party name or even symbol, but it's the same general cadre of individuals who would gravitate, and the only difference is that there are some sprinkle groups, small parties, if you want to dig, because democracy is a nasty thing. There is conflict, there is of course antagonism, but at the end of the day, because of the built-in a sort of accountability and transparency, it proves to be the best that mankind could have come up with, rather than a monarch and some like an oligarchy with a selfish, narrow, and eating the spoils of the country by far, and not, of course, sharing it with the masses. So, over the years, it's the same, but just that the symbol might have changed, the name of the entity may have changed. But over the years, it's a two-party system originally, or even something else before that. But down to today, UNC today, and one safely say that is the same, is a evolution, but merely in the changing of name, but the same players. Or is it that the UNC today is much more transformative, much more adaptive, and much more sensible or sensitive to the realities, and that therefore it is able to try to embrace all of the forces, so you have a true two-party system. PNM is entity comprising of everybody else.
I'm saying the UNC and they were different to the PNM in their approach.
Okay.
I'll give you some examples, because people like to be blinded by race and don't deal with examples and truth, right?
Okay.
The Baptists, and you could correct me, wanted a land for the school and for different things.
Yes.
Yes, after the Baptists and the Mother Maga and all of them was into the PNM for years and give their soul. They never got it, even under the mighty Eric William. Spanday was the one, and you could correct me, under Barbara Burke, Bishop Burke, and even though they don't like her, or one day they will have to recognize the work that she has done.
She has done, that's
and
right.
Continue, not just has, but continue to do.
Yes.
You understand? So, that is the thing. So, the PNM could say what they want to say, but they continue to hold on to the ways because of what Eric William have built. He have built a strong party, and they use that. But history also show once groups come together, they cannot win, Lennox. That's a fact. If you even go way back when in the election, where the federal election, where everybody they come together, PNM lose.
Yeah, Foray in Tobago, he lost the election, and he was in fact according to him a professor and Jack as well. So therefore he was diametrically opposed to the PNM in 1970.
I think the only person that won, because I have it in my book here, but if it's not, I could always prove it. APT James. Was the only one that won a seat, and that Tobago seat. You understand? And the reason why he win, APT. You understand? Independent APT. So the reality is the PNM know that they're on the last leg, and once you come together, PNM.
Well, of course, Dr. Rowley is, I suppose, on his way back from Canada. Here he's standing, of course, with Trudeau.
On March 31, 2015.
That's a Freudian slip, if we were speaking, but that is where we are. We wanted to get, of course, the image of both Dr. Rowley and Trudeau. And, of course, there was another picture which we'll show as well, where, of course, he was in a hoodie. But I got a copy of the clip because I like to be, in spite of my total loathness of Dr. Rowley, in spite of my antagonistic stance, in spite of my brutal disposition as to his conduct and his reprehensible behavior. But Skerrett had to Skerrett back to Dominica because of the hurricane, Tommy. And so he was invited, because I suppose he was in the audience, to, of course, be on the podium to be part and parcel of a press conference. And that is how we ended up being there. And it's not that he was he dressed for the occasion, knowing full well that he had to be in the president had to speak on behalf of Trinidad and Tobago and by extension CARICOM as well, because it was a CARICOM Canadian summit. So I want to make that clear. So so those of you who thought it despicable, well, probably the best I could say with that, he should have walked with an extra pair of suit just in case, because you know you have to be prepared in circumstances
and
like
then,
this. So he was caught off guard there. Go ahead,
and
Dr.
Lennox, the man is a down-to-earth man.
So inadvertently he appeared to be down to earth, but he couldn't spare, I'm sure, the opportunity to stand on that podium, and therefore he didn't care what he had on. he went and make use of the photo op. That is the, if you have to accuse him of anything, that is the one you was accused of. He would die for opportunity.
Had to go to work in suit every day and things. You always embrace the opportunity not to be in a suit, huh?
I hear you as well. I hear you as well, my friend. Sarcasm will get you everywhere. So here he is, of course, in that hoodie, you know, with the Prime Minister of Canada. Yes, indeed, Dr. Khaled, right, good. Nice, you're understanding the camera, Dr. Khaled, so you bend your head a little bit, yes. So that, but here he is, of course. Most people felt it was shameful and so on. And I saw an article today, I saw the headline, but I didn't see the article, I didn't read the article itself. It would be very interesting to know if they know what I know, and whether or not they were justifying this present, or is it that just being a mouthpiece for the PNM or an apologist. I would want to read that because it's someone who I respect, and if I only sense from what they would have said, making an excuse for that under normal circumstance, but it was an abnormal circumstance, it was an aberration, it was of course a sort of a situation where he had to improvise and was called upon to replace Skerrett, and he wasn't dressed for the occasion because there was no itinerary to say that he would be part of that press conference that eventually occurred, and so of course he found himself there. So I'm not making excuses. I hate the man, yes, you could sense that, but Lennox, at the same time,
Lennox,
I have to be real.
Let me go at you.
Go ahead.
Do not use the word hate. I don't say nothing yet.
I say nothing.
Do not use the word hate. People get the wrong impression.
All right.
We don't agree with his policies, but I'm sure if you go down the road and he's collapsed there, you will pick him up and come to the hospital if you have to. Let's don't do that. Our politics must be different. Don't be like them. When Robertson, may God have mercy on him, was in the parliament, and those guys beat him up and all kind of thing. I have heard PLM people say it's one thing they vex with those guys for. They didn't kill him. So let us have a different attitude, all right?
All right.
And I'm not chastising him.
No. I know you're being out of an abundance of caution. It is admonition and good advice.
Yes.
Is welcome always.
We different to them
on this program.
Yes.
But I use the word hate in a very specific way, and you're quite right. I'm glad that you were able to, of course, extrapolate. Because really and truly it's about policies and programs. And yes indeed, once he is out of office, in a situation, if I see him, of course, in some tragic circumstance, I will run to his rescue. I am not certain if he is still in office, if I would do it.
There you go again. There you go again.
So I'm sure I'm being real, and I'm being, of course, only human.
But I'm disappointed.
Go ahead. Express your disappointment.
Because
go ahead.
Whether he is in office or not, if something happened and you are there, I am sure. I know you more than you know yourself. You will pick him. You can't listen. We can't look like it have a thing that I admire, right?
Yes.
One of these UNC persons, I think was an MP or so,
Yeah.
got in trouble. And one of those PNM guys, I can't remember his name,
Okay.
saw her, and you know most women there.
Oh, yes.
Right.
A landslip on Lady Young. Yes.
And he came out and he helped her.
I think it was Devon Barrage, if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
Right. That is how mature people supposed to be. And we must be like that. I have had the opportunity to work with a lot of PNM people. You come to me for something and I go out of my way and help you. That don't mean to say I support your views. Politically, we see it differently. Right? And then a lot of the things that you do I don't agree with. But when things come like that, so I'm disappointed.
Okay, great. All right, so we get to the next topic. So he's disappointed. Of course, contrarily, I was happy to express that, but that's all right. We leave that for another occasion. Increase in electricity rates, Dr. Khalid. Once a month bill, not twice, not once every 2 months, and the fees that you pay for the service, you have to pay, even though it is increased, you have to pay that every month now rather than every 2 months, as is the case now temporarily. What are your views? Increase in electricity
I
rates.
disagree with the increase. Right now, maybe there's a case you can make for it. But right now, Lennox, a lot of people suffering. A lot of unemployment. I'm telling you, that is going to impact the unemployed and those who salary more than anybody else. That is a reality. I disagree with it right now. Yes, there may be a case where you have to increase, but not right now. That is my personal.
Of course, you did mention some elements as to the argument as to why. Could you elaborate a little more?
No.
Why are you in opposition to the increase? A little more.
No, because as I said, all right. Because Lennox, there are a lot of poor people. It have a lot of suffering out there in the communities. It have people who have to pay rent, and they have the children, and they have not everyone who living in these poor communities are worthless, you know. Yeah, I know it have guy, you have to take care of his children, and his wife is dead, and you have to take care of the children, you know, thinking back and forth, they were saying. People like these, I don't think could pay, and it's not just one guy. I could give you an example of one guy, but that's more than, and it's not just my community, that's the thing. So I feel at this time that is an exercise that they could have put back. That is a fact. Because all this talk that we have more money we're getting from the gas and you're making, but that is not impacting common people. Whatever revenue coming to our coffers, it is not impacting poor people right now.
And then, of course, the prospects of property tax, the prospects of increase in water rates.
Yes. Yes.
And then on fixed salary.
Exactly.
And with the impact or the imposition of property tax, rent will be raised by those persons who are susceptible to the landlord and at his or her mercy. And the quality of life continues, of course, and the cost of living continues to skyrocket.
There you go, Lennox.
So that has tremendous repercussion in addition to the already existing hardships, and hopefully that they can find more opportunity to impose further hardship on the people. Because I will not be surprised, for example, if they change the polymer notes to some other note and then tell us that bring all that you have, and of course give it to the bank, and the bank will say, well, listen, we can't exchange it because we run out of the new notes, but leave your money in the bank,
Yeah.
so the government could, of course, get it.
Someone,
Someone is on the line. Let's go straight to the line. Pleasant, good morning. Welcome to the corridor. Pleasant, good morning. Welcome to the corridor. Pleasant, good morning. Welcome to the corridor. Oh, probably that's why we were getting some problems with the line. I don't know why is that so.
somebody tested.
Please call back. We don't. We have not. All right. Okay. Let's go again.
Let's see if we get.
Pleasant, good morning. Welcome to the corridor. Pleasant, good morning. Welcome to the corridor. All right. Yes. Thank you very much. Yeah. Morning.
Morning. Morning. Good morning.
You know, it's very educational. You know something? I was looking at Facebook or I think Facebook yesterday, just going through.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that I was like disappointed this person. But I'm seeing how things getting so bad now that senior citizens walking sick have to be shopless food for their family to provide for their family and for themselves. We don't know the situation home. You know, I think the pension money too small that they have to either have to buy tablets, food, and probably, you know, someone living by themselves, that parents and these kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
I think the government is supposed to do a little more for these people, and then you don't know what is happening. You're seeing you're seeing everybody at some point in time doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have a reason why they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense.
And
Yes.
you have to find out what's going on at the people's home. Rent is very expensive.
Yes, that is a fact.
Rent is very expensive. I'm going to have real estate library because I realize every month now we really get in our library. And it comes with more than 2,000, 1,000 something. And you want to buy and use all this? I've taken off certain things. So why first? I'm not paying on the license of women if any freedom that they need that. You know? But they're taking off your license, they selling this insurance, and they don't put on this, don't even but your license is still very high. Right? You have to provide food for insurance, you have to provide transportation money for them. They may have a game or so. You might have to give them a little extra money to buy a little water, some juice. You know, those accents and like popular things with the friends who didn't have any that some school without. Right? I try to do a little extra for my child because when I go to school, it always have a child, a friend of theirs that don't have. My son had to tell me, Mommy, I give me my lunch and I'm saying my friend comes with no lunch in it, so I share. I give them a divide. You know?
Mm-hmm.
They need to do something more. People are starving outside here. People are having nothing. They're looking like they're having and they're having nothing. People outside are frustrated. They don't know. You're watching them normal and they're not normal. So I think the government has to do a little more. Do something more. Find out why these children getting on the way they get on in school. Find out what is happening or they're not doing all the job. Or they have social workers, they have some teachers really trying, they have some that they ain't doing what they're supposed to do tonight. So let's more and let us try to fix this here. And people already need to come on, we say come and go and protest, and then we gotta do that because we see how the country coming, we lost a lot of youth, we lost a lot of people. They're coming in your house, they're raping you, they're doing all kinds of things. They have to stop studying, passing, and paying them, and paying. They are not doing nothing for none of us, they're not doing nothing for you, and you will keep on suffering and suffering and suffering. Okay? Have a wonderful day.
Yeah, Yes, well, Lennox, they, if I may comment, the caller couldn't put it better.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
That caller couldn't put it better. And that's the point. That's the point I was making.
Yeah.
When I said they should not now. If you want to build a case, you build your case, but not now. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
We need to do look when you see all these things. I mean, if I walk in and I see somebody doing my bite for anybody, especially that I know that day.
Yeah.
I mean, I might just have to go and meet my maker right away.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it is sad. I mean, this is what is happening.
and
This is what is happening in Trinidad today. Yeah, it is
look,
that could be the grandmother of these young men.
and they don't care.
Look, and the kicker, kicker.
Yeah, of course,
Look, watch,
yes,
this one coming now.
yes,
Watch, bam.
Yes,
Wow.
They don't care. It's the same. It's the same thing. These young men from the area where I told you about.
Yes.
They would going around this. I heard one person saying that he went somewhere and he saw this woman and they snatched her purse and she started crying and he was
laughing
and happy. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. They don't care. I mean, this poor woman, she ran back. They look.
Yeah.
Imagine my and people passing.
And look, and it appears that the fella who walking with her now, trying to console her. That is it. But he's part of the part of the gang. Yeah, he's part of the gang. Yeah. So because look him there, look him there.
No, that's him. He's a part of the thing.
And he stands there. Yeah, he stands there.
Yeah.
And he moving. And then look, he comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sympathizing and so on. Yes.
Playing counseling and
empathizing and sympathizing.
But that's the plan, That's what they do. That's why a lot of them dying before the time.
Yeah, people, we are in a terrible state of affairs. Let's look in modern day Trinidad and Tobago to have that kind of development taking place.
That's important.
Yeah, that's in Port of Spain. Yes, I think it's on Charlotte Street, if I'm not mistaken. That store, they're looking very familiar. Yeah. So here we have a situation where I think she's over 50 years of age, so she's a senior citizen almost.
Yes, they don't care.
And look at that kick. Look at that kick.
That's
your back. I mean, she may have to end up in the hospital.
Your mother, your grandmother, your auntie, them don't care. Them sick little boys.
Yeah.
Sick.
That is what we are producing, people.
Yeah.
That is our children.
Yes.
Understand that. That is our children.
So that's why you have to put you have to clean up every community. See why I say you need to do it by communities.
Yes. It is sad. Awful.
I am sure.
Wow.
Those little boys there, none of them did 30 years.
None, not one. And if there's 20 or just beyond 20,
yes,
the oldest one, they're looking like around 19.
That's what I'm saying. They don't care, little boys.
Yeah, and of course, imagine 18,000 of them leaving school every year. So, like the Venezuelans, you could see them on every street and everywhere you go. Watch.
Because just imagine people watching and see that's my mother. Police don't do nothing. Next thing is a vigilante group going and snuff them out,
Of course.
And people might be angry for saying that. But next thing a vigilante group go and they take them out.
Yeah. Yeah, that is what we are looking for. That is what is going to happen because people can't continue like this.
Yeah. What's them?
Can it continue like this? People, of course, time is upon us. It is now 10 o'clock. But it was beautiful doing it for you. I'm seeing it live and nice on YouTube. I have not seen it yet on on Facebook. Let me just switch again to our internal operations. Yes, so look, we are there. They just reached, of course, where that is something we played earlier. So you know we have to have a delay. Yeah. So we on so we know that we are on YouTube, but of course in terms of Facebook, I have not been able to get us or get a hold of us or seen us. So we will do what is required. We'll either upload something to make certain that this particular day Sunday program gets on, so people get the benefit of it, because I think those pictures, those scenes are horrendous. They are horrible, and our young people are engaged in that kind of activity.
It's amazing, Lennox.
It's amazing. Yes, it's amazing. People, so please understand we have a duty and responsibility, and the first port of call, I think, based on the performance of this administration, even though on a Sunday I try to be as objective as possible in a subjective situation, but this, it happens too often. It will be, there's a it, and has betrayed the population across the board, economic, social, cultural, and we can go on and on, psychological and all. And therefore there is a need for them to call elections, so at least to reset Trinidad and Tobago. And I want to categorically say that Kamala Prasad Bisesa and the UNC have demonstrated that this instances like this would have been avoided, and there would have been no need for it. No need for it. Yes, indeed.
She can't even walk, boy.
No. No need for it, people. No need for it.
I don't think I could comment, Lennox, because I'll use
it is ineffable.
I would use some adjective.
Yeah.
That is not ready.
It's despicable. It's unacceptable.
Come on, man. Come on.
So, people, we have come to the end now, of course, of today's program. We weren't able to, of course, give you the opportunity to hear your own comments because the system has not shown it up. So we will find out why, and of course you will have an opportunity to know why. But at the same time, we have another week next week where of course we can make adjustments in the previous week so that we can deliver to you on D-Day next week Sunday. So, Dr. Khaled, it was beautiful. It was nice. It was very calm. No rancor, except of course you disagree with my description of Dr. Rowley or my emotional disposition of Dr. Rowley.
Because I'll tell you something, and what I'm about to say, not to make us haughty.
Yes.
We are better than them in many ways, Lennox.
I see.
I don't follow them. I can remember, one time a guy was carrying on in a certain way, he was abusive, and I started to answer back, and my father put some lash on me. And the reason why he put a lash on me, he said, better than him. He said, he not in school, you in school, you doing this, you doing that. You don't have to go like that.
Oh.
I mean, he said, and don't vex with me, any fool can curse. Any fool can be abusive and say nasty things. We are the exemplars. We have to show that. And people Trinidad and Tobago don't understand that these guys are not exemplars. They're arrogant, they're haughty. The schooling they use to benefit them and their rich friends. That's what it is. We better than that. You have a history of serving. You think anybody could say anything about you when I defend you all the time? Because I know you have a history of serving since as a very young teacher. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So we better than that. I'd rather prove nothing. I know who they are. In fact, I'll go further. They know who they are.
I hear you, my friend. Well, one thing I'm convinced of, that admonition that your father gave you certainly lasts even to today. So thank you very much for that intervention. Yes, indeed. So of course, people, all good things come to an end. Also bad things. Yes, this administration will come to an end.
Exactly.
So
Correct as well.
just have patience, just be tolerant, and at the end of the day, the Lord will make the intervention that is necessary in order to ameliorate and relieve us from the stress, pain, agony, and downtrodden nature that, of course, we have been subjected to over the last 8 years.
Correct.
That being as it may, have a wonderful rest of the day. Don't forget, tonight at 8 o'clock, we return on the Corridor Transformation, where we will play the entire presentation of Dr. Rowley at the opening or ribbon cutting ceremony of that segment of the highway from Point Fortin to San Fernando. And of course, all of his shenanigans and innuendos, deceptions, and attempt to deflect attention away from his once again inability to put at the forefront the interests of Trinidad and Tobago, because that is what it is all about. Have a wonderful rest of the day once again. God bless. Let's end as we started. I think, of course, we probably could look at, because of the budget, we probably could look at capitalism, because I could go on mad.
Or some kind of petty bourgeoisie, anytime you live in here. In this country, you got to be in skullduggery, making you money illicitly, to live like somebody. In this country, it's outrageous and insane, them crazy prices.